alive! Oh, it's alive! It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
It's that time of year again, Firewood Media's Halloween Horror Picture Show 2023. To commemorate my love of stop-motion horror flicks, I've decided to review 31 horror movies featuring this form of animation. Uploaded once a day throughout the month of October, I'll be covering the history of stop-motion horror, starting with 1925's The Lost World. Directed by Harry O'Hoyt, with stop-motion animation by Willis O'Brien, and based off the 1912 novel of the same name by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, this silent adventure film functions as one of the earliest adaptations of the Lost World concept. The movie takes audiences on a thrilling journey to a remote plateau in South America, where prehistoric creatures still roam the earth. With groundbreaking special effects and an engaging storyline, The Lost World sets the stage for many future adventure films and remains a significant milestone in cinematic history. In a lost plateau on the borders of Peru, Brazil, and Colombia, a group of explorers led by Professor Challenger encounter a prehistoric wonderland. Paula White brings her father's journal filled with sketches of dinosaurs to Challenger, who is eager to prove their existence to the world. The explorers face perilous situations like a brontosaurus toppling their bridge, an allosaurus attacking their campsite, and an ape-man ambushing them. Despite these challenges, they find ways to survive and even manage to capture a brontosaurus to bring back to London as evidence. However, the prehistoric creatures escape, causing havoc in the city before eventually returning to the plateau. Now, this was the very first feature-length film to use stop-motion animation as its primary special effect. 1918's The Ghost of Slumber Mountain also utilized stop-motion animation, with it being also done by Willis O'Brien, the same animator that made this film a reality. What made O'Brien's work so compelling was that he was able to seamlessly blend live-action footage of actors on sets with stop-motion animated miniatures in the same frame. This would be perfected in the masterpiece that is 1933's King Kong, which Willis O'Brien also animated. The rampage at the end of the film is the climax, and you can immediately see its influence in sequences that would follow this, like in King Kong, Godzilla, and of course, Jurassic Park. Specifically the second film, which also happens to be titled The Lost World. Something else that I really appreciate about this film is how it incorporates prehistoric non-dinosaur creatures into the film, like cave bears and the ape man. In conclusion, The Lost World set a number of cinematic firsts. It cleverly merged live action and stop motion material on the same screen, with model animation serving as the major special effect. Notably, the film was influential in developing the monster movie genre, a legacy that lives on to this very day. Its impact can even be seen in King Kong, Godzilla, and like I mentioned, Jurassic Park. Ever since I was a little kid, I've always been obsessed with filmmaking, and King Kong is what made me want to be a filmmaker. Stop-motion animation has always captivated me, with my first ever short film being a stop-motion kaiju romp titled Hiryu the Fire Dragon. It's garbage, but you know what? I was 8, so let's just leave it at that. So, it only makes sense that I would eventually cover King Kong on this channel. Directed by Marion C. Cooper and Ernest B. Schoedsack with stop-motion animation by Willis O'Brien, King Kong was a groundbreaking film of its time, and brought about a new era in cinema, with its innovative special effects and storytelling. The film has remained a pop culture phenomenon even today, nearly a century after its release. The story follows a group of filmmakers and adventurers who travel to the mysterious Skull Island in search of a legendary giant ape named Kong. There they encounter a hostile tribe of natives and capture the gigantic beast. However, when Kong is brought back to New York City as part of a publicity stunt, he breaks free and goes on a rampage, leading to a climactic battle atop the Empire State Building. The film's strength lies in its masterful combination of action, adventure, and romance. Though the romance parts are the worst part of the movie, but we'll get to that. The pacing of the film is perfect, as a sense of danger and tension is palpable throughout, as the characters navigate through the perilous jungle and eventually face off against Kong. The special effects are also a standout feature of the film. The use of stop-motion animation to bring King Kong to life was groundbreaking for its time, and the result is still impressive to this day. The attention to detail in the animation is just astounding, and the use of miniature sets and models to create the illusion of scale is just seamless. Willis O'Brien and his assistant animator, Buzz Gibson, used stop-motion animation to bring the many ancient species that inhabit Skull Island to life. These sequences were challenging to accomplish and finish, after the special effects crew realized that stopping would cause the creatures' movements to appear incoherent, and the lighting would lose intensity over the several weeks it took to fully animate a completed sequence. So they had to do it all in one go. In terms of creature-on-creature action, the highlight of the film is Kong's fight with the Allosaurus. It feels so raw and brutal. It took 7 weeks to complete the epic battle. Ray Harryhausen, O'Brien's protege, who eventually worked with him on multiple films, remarked that O'Brien's second wife recognized how much of his character was in Kong. This is because the film's stop-motion animator, O'Brien, had competed in amateur boxing fights while Marion C. Cooper had wrestled in his youth. Kong's battle with the Allosaurus displays the results of this experience. Kong delivers a right cross to the dinosaur while raising his left paw to protect his face, in the same manner that a boxer would. During this bout, Kong also used the well-known wrestling maneuver, trip out, and snapmare. The Allosaurus is ultimately defeated by Kong by pulling its jaws apart while standing on its shoulders. Professional wrestler Angelino Rocca would eventually rename this maneuver the Rocca Ride in the 1940s. The film's sound design is also incredible. The creature's sound effects are so memorable, it feels like an actual animal is making these sounds. And that's because, well, it is an actual animal making these sounds. The roar of King Kong was a growl of a lion and a tiger paired together, then slowed down and played backwards. Murray Spivak, the film's lead sound designer, produced the dinosaur's hisses and croaks using an air compressor. Spivak also recorded several sailors' screams and cries upon dying. Fay Wray recorded every one of her characters' screams in just one session. The music is also perfect. Max Steiner's score effectively enhances the emotional impact of the film. The music matches the action on screen, intensifying the drama, suspense, and adventure. Steiner's compositions not only create a sense of wonder and excitement during the iconic scenes of Kong's appearance, but also heighten the audience's empathy and connection with the characters. There are so many standout moments here, whether it be the music that plays when Kong makes his on-screen debut, or the music that plays during the Brontosaurus attack. Every scene is punctuated by an incredible score, making each sequence completely unforgettable. The performances in this film are also great for their time. Sure, they're a little melodramatic and overacted, but that's what you're bound to get for a movie made in 1933. Fay Wray as Ann Darrow, the object of Kong's affection, delivers a standout performance. Her character is vulnerable and sympathetic, and her interactions with Kong are some of the film's most memorable moments. Robert Armstrong and Bruce Cabot, who played the film's other two leads, Carl Denham and Jack Driscoll, also deliver very strong performances. Despite dying at the end of the film, spoiler alert, but it's a 90-year-old movie, the character of Kong would go on to battle Godzilla in the 60s, and again in 2021. He would also fight Mechanite Kong in King Kong Returns, and would be remade and reimagined by filmmakers like Dino De Laurentiis, Peter Jackson, and Jordan Vogt Roberts. Countless ripoffs were also made, like Queen Kong, Konga, and Ape, which is one of the most insane movies that I think I've ever seen. To close it all out, King Kong is a cinematic masterpiece that deserves its place in the canon of classic films. Its impact on the film industry cannot be overstated, and its enduring popularity is a testament to its timeless storytelling and innovative special effects. Sure, the romance subplots are kind of hammy and melodramatic, but like I said, it's a 1933 movie. It's kind of what you get. It remains a thrilling adventure that is just as enjoyable to watch today as it was all the way back in 1933. Mighty Joe Young is a classic 1949 American fantasy film directed by Ernest B. Schoedsack and produced by Marion C. Cooper. The film tells the story of a young woman named Joe Young, who raises an enormous gorilla named Joe from infancy. As Joe grows into a formidable giant, he is eventually captured and taken to the United States to perform in a nightclub act. But his life is endangered when a group of men attempt to exploit him. The film is famous for its groundbreaking special effects, which were created by the legendary visual effects artist Ray Harryhausen, as well as Pete Peterson and Marcel Delgado. One of the key themes of the film is the relationship between humans and animals. Throughout the film, Jill and Joe share a deep bond, and Jill goes to great lengths to protect Joe from harm. The relationship is used to comment on the exploitation of animals for human entertainment and the consequences of such exploitation. The film also touches on the idea of the consequences of mistreating animals, as the men who attempt to exploit Joe pay a heavy price for their actions. Another important theme of the film is the idea of power and responsibility. As Joe grows into a giant, he becomes a symbol of power, but with that power comes a great deal of responsibility. Spider-Man. Jill recognizes this and takes on the responsibility of caring for Joe, even when it puts her own life in danger. And it is a message that still resonates with audiences today. The special effects in Mighty Joe Young were groundbreaking for their time and honestly remain impressive even by today's standards. This was Ray Harryhausen's feature film debut, and his use of stop-motion animation to bring Joe to life was a technological marvel in 1949 and helped to set the standard for future special effects in the film industry. Sure, at this point in time, audiences had seen King Kong a little over 10 years ago, but this was something different. The realistic movements and expressions of Joe, combined with the film's emotional story, make the film an unforgettable experience for audiences. The special effects alone took around 14 months to complete, but all that work would pay off when the film would go on to win the Academy Award for Best Visual Effects. Mighty Joe Young is a classic film that still holds up today with its themes of the relationship between humans and animals, power and responsibility, and its groundbreaking special effects. The film's timeless message of the consequence of mistreating animals and the importance of taking responsibility for our own actions continues to resonate with audiences, making Mighty Joe Young a timeless masterpiece of the film industry. The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms is a classic science fiction monster movie released in 1953. Directed by Eugene Laurie, the film tells the story of a prehistoric dinosaur that is released from the Arctic ice after being frozen for millions of years. As the monster makes its way down the coast of North America, it creates destruction and chaos, and a team of scientists and military personnel are tasked with stopping the beast before it can cause any more damage. The film was a pioneering effort in the use of stop-motion animation, which was utilized to bring the giant fearsome monster to life. Ray Harryhausen, a master of the animation technique, was responsible for creating the effects, and his work was a major factor in the film's success. The animation, combined with the film's tense score, helped to create a sense of dread and suspense, making the monster's attacks all the more thrilling. One of the most interesting elements of The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms is the film's commentary on the dangers of nuclear weapons. A common trope in the 1950s, the monster is released from the ice as a direct result of an atomic bomb test, and the film raises questions about the long-term effects of nuclear testing on the environment and the creatures that live within it. This theme was especially relevant in the 1950s, as fears about the dangers of nuclear weapons were at their height. The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms has left a lasting legacy on the film industry, particularly the science fiction and monster movie genres. It's widely considered to be one of the first films in the genre of giant monster movies, and it influenced several films later down the line like Godzilla, Gamera, and many others. The film's use of stop-motion animation, created by master animator Ray Harryhausen, was groundbreaking for its time and helped to establish the technique as a staple of the science fiction and fantasy genre. The film's anti-nuclear message, which suggests that atomic bomb tests can have dangerous long-term effects on the environment and its creatures, was ahead of its time and continues to be relevant today. It also continues to be a beloved film for many people who enjoy its nostalgic appeal in the classic monster movie genre. Overall, The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms is a classic example of the sci-fi monster movie, and it has had a lasting impact on pop culture. Its use of stop-motion animation was groundbreaking, and its themes of environmental destruction and the dangers of nuclear weapons continue to resonate with audiences today. I mean, without it, we would not have Godzilla. That was confirmed by Tomoyuki Tanaka, the producer of Godzilla, who was flying in a plane and looking out at the sea and thinking, what if a giant monster rose out of that? Of course, that thought was kind of spurred after seeing this film. Without it, we wouldn't have one of the most iconic monsters of all time. So if you're a fan of science fiction, monsters, or just classic cinema, this film is definitely worth checking out. It Came from Beneath the Sea is a 1955 American sci-fi film directed by Robert Gordon. The film follows a giant octopus that emerges from the depths of the Pacific Ocean and begins to attack San Francisco. The film was released during the peak of the 1950s sci-fi craze and is one of the classic monster movies from that era. During a shakedown cruise in the Pacific, Commander Pete Matthews captains a nuclear submarine that encounters a massive sonar return, resulting in a disablement before it returns to Pearl Harbor. Scientists Professor Leslie Joyce and John Carter identify tissue from a colossal octopus jammed in the submarine's dive plates, linking it to missing swimmers and ships. The creature's radioactive state and disrupted food supply from hydrogen bomb tests are believed to have driven it toward human-populated areas. Skeptical military authorities are convinced after survivor accounts, prompting safety measures like halting sea traffic and deploying defenses. Matthews, Joyce, and Carter work together. Attempts to lure and repel the creature fail, leading to a showdown at San Francisco's Golden Gate Bridge. The submarine's jet torpedo is used, leading to a dangerous underwater encounter and ultimately the destruction of the giant octopus. It Came from Beneath the Sea reflects the fears and anxieties of the 1950s surrounding the dangers of atomic radiation and the potential for catastrophic consequences from atomic bomb testing. The giant octopus can be seen as a metaphor for the destructive power of nuclear weapons, as well as a warning about the potential for unintended consequences from scientific experimentation. The film also reflects the anxieties of the Cold War era, with the octopus representing the threat of Soviet expansion and the potential for a global conflict. The film's portrayal of the military as heroic defenders of the country reflects the patriotic fervor of the time and the belief in the importance of national security. Under the guidance of producer Charles Schneer and overseen by Sam Katzman of Columbia Studios, the film's concept was sparked by the hydrogen bomb's first explosion in the Marshall Islands. Schneer envisioned a deep-sea creature emerging to demolish the Golden Gate Bridge. Inspired by Universal's success with It Came from Outer Space, Schneer enlisted Ray Harryhausen, impressed by his work on The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms, to handle the special effects. Filming took place primarily at the San Francisco Naval Shipyard, featuring scenes with actual submarines, and creative set designs such as Pacific coastline scenes enhanced by rear projection. Director Robert Gordon employed inventive cost-cutting methods, including a truckload of sand for authenticity. Animator Ray Harryhausen's resourceful approach resulted in the Sixtopus, a modified octopus with 6 animated tentacles instead of 8 due to budget constraints. The production ingeniously combined practical and stop-motion animation for dynamic effects. Additionally, the Golden Gate Bridge scenes cleverly utilized shooting miniatures and compositing techniques. They tried to actually film on the real bridge, but they were denied permission. Schneer would then improvise. He would mount a camera on a bakery truck, capturing the required footage during multiple bridge crossings. Guerrilla style, you'll love to see it. The film's iconic imagery, including the octopus attack in the Golden Gate Bridge, has become a part of popular culture and has been referenced and parodied in numerous films and TV shows. To wrap up today's review, I would like to introduce Dante Green. You can check out his channel, Def Cinema, where he reviews more recent film theatrical releases while also creating his own original films as well. Take it away, Dante.
Now, I just gotta explain. This movie is genuinely really good when they bring up the monster itself. When we focus more on the characters, it gets really boring. The monster, the octopus, that was so fun. That was so cool. Like, if you've ever seen like King Kong, like the original one, it kind of has the same feeling where it feels like you're tiny and it feels like a giant, but the music, oh my god, the music, it just draws you in and makes you scared. Like, if you just had a creature just you know, climbing things or grabbing things and there's no music in the background, be like, what the fuck? The music, it was genuinely like makes you like scared, makes you like, oh shit. So if it wasn't for the music and the creature, I wouldn't be talking about this movie right now, because that's like the monster, it just claws on you and just, I don't know. I really like monster movies that are like that. It's like where it's like tiny little versions, like mini versions, and you're just staring out like, oh God. It just makes you feel like you're tiny and you're seeing a giant creature thing. I mean, sure, it's a little bit over dramatic when there's like actors like, oh my God. I'd rather see that than giant CGI monsters.
Thanks, Dante.
This is the frightening meat-eating Ceratosaurus. He stands 20 feet high and weighs 8 tons.
The Animal World is a 1956 American documentary film directed by Irwin Allen. The film explores the diversity and complexity of the natural world with a focus on the behavior and habits of a wide variety of animals. The film was produced during a period of growing interest in nature documentaries, and was notable for its use of innovative film techniques to capture footage of animals in their natural habitats. Unlike a traditional narrative film, The Animal World does not have a specific plot. Instead, the film is structured around a series of vignettes, each exploring a different aspect of the natural world. The film covers a wide range of topics, including the habits of primates, the hunting strategies of predators, and the migration patterns of birds. Throughout the film, a narrator provides scientific explanations of the behavior and interactions of the animals on screen. For the most part, the film's visual style is heavily influenced by the documentary style of wildlife photography, with a focus on capturing animals in their natural habitats and behaviors. The Animal World is primarily focused on educating audiences about the natural world and the diversity of animal life. The film is also notable for its emphasis on conservation and the importance of preserving the habitats and ecosystems of the animals featured in the film. However, we're here because of the animated dinosaur sequence. What I love most about covering all these stop motion movies is the inner child in me is just like, oh boy, here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. Because, oh my God, I love it. I really sat down and watched a documentary from the 50s about nature just because there's a dinosaur sequence in it. Now, the highlight of the film is that animated dinosaur sequence, and it was produced by Ray Harryhausen and Willis O'Brien. Ray Harryhausen, of course, being responsible for Jason and the Argonauts, the Sinbad flicks, Clash of the Titans, I mean, you name it. But we're going to cover them all this month. While Willis O'Brien was known for King Kong and The Lost World, the original concept for this scene was just a simple diorama being used. However, both Harryhausen and O'Brien were insistent on making the sequence animated in order to make it more memorable. A Stegosaurus, 2 Ceratauruses, a Triceratops, a Tyrannosaurus, which also functions as an Allosaurus, and a female Brontosaurus with one of her hatchlings are among the dinosaurs that make an appearance. What made the dinosaur sequence so groundbreaking was the use of innovative special effect techniques to bring the prehistoric creatures to life. The filmmakers used stop-motion animation to create the lifelike movements of the dinosaurs, which required painstaking attention to detail and a great deal of time to create. The result was some of the most realistic and convincing depictions of prehistoric creatures ever seen on film at the time. The dinosaur sequence also reflects a broader cultural fascination with the prehistoric creatures during the mid-20th century. The discovery of dinosaur fossils in the early 20th century had captured the popular imagination, and films like The Animal World helped to popularize the idea of dinosaurs as fascinating and exotic creatures. Certain shots from the sequence would ultimately be repurposed as stock footage in B-movies, like 1970's Trog with Joan Crawford, which is one of my favorite movies from the 70s. I want to cover it so bad on this channel. The imagery in this sequence is nothing short of iconic. The dinosaur sequence is a memorable and groundbreaking depiction of prehistoric creatures. The use of innovative special effects techniques helped to create lifelike depictions of dinosaurs that had never been seen on film before. And the sequence remains a popular and influential example of nature documentary filmmaking. Earth vs. the Flying Saucers is a sci-fi movie that was released in 1956, directed by Fred F. Sears and produced by Charles H. Shiner. The film is known for its special effects, which were considered innovative for its time. It features the protagonist, Dr. Russell A. Marvin, played by Hugh Marlowe. who teams up with the military to fight against alien invaders who have come to Earth in flying saucers. The story is centered around the mysterious arrival of flying saucers from outer space. The film opens with Dr. Marvin and his wife Carol, played by Joan Taylor, who witness the first appearance of the saucers while on a drive. They quickly realize that the flying saucers are not of this world and report their sightings to the authorities. The saucers are shown to be able to fly at tremendous speeds and possess destructive weaponry that can destroy buildings and military equipment with ease. Dr. Marvin, an expert in space exploration and aeronautics, is recruited by the military to help develop a defense against the alien invaders. Earth vs. the Flying Saucers is a classic example of a 1950 sci-fi movie. The film explores the fear and anxiety of the time, as people were still reeling from the effects of World War II and the beginning of the Cold War. The idea of an alien invasion from outer space with the ability to destroy entire cities and civilizations tapped into these fears and anxieties and made for a compelling narrative. One of the most notable aspects of Earth vs. the Flying Saucers is its special effects. Ray Harryhausen created the effects using stop-motion animation. The flying saucers are menacing, and the destruction they cause is impressive, with buildings and vehicles crumbling and exploding rather convincingly. The effects have become a classic example of the use of stop-motion animation in science fiction and fantasy films, with Harryhausen's work having inspired many filmmakers in the decades since. The characters in the film are relatively one-dimensional, with Dr. Marvin being the only fleshed-out character, and the other characters, including Dr. Marvin's wife Carol and the military personnel, serving more as plot devices to move the story forward rather than fully realized characters. This is not uncommon for 1950s sci-fi movies, which often focus more on the action and spectacle than on character development. The film was generally well received by critics and audiences upon its release. The film's special effects were particularly praised, with critics noting the impressive use of stop-motion animation. The film's story and themes were also noted, with some critics commenting on the relevance of the film's Cold War-era fears. In the years since its release, Earth vs. the Flying Saucers has become a cult classic, and a favorite of sci-fi fans. Its special effects have inspired many filmmakers, and its themes of communication and understanding continue to resonate with audiences. "20 Million Miles to Earth" is a sci-fi film released in 1957. Directed by Nathan Juran, the film is a classic example of sci-fi movies from the golden age of Hollywood. The film was released during the height of the Cold War and was one of the many science fiction films that were released in the 1950s. The movie starts with a group of American astronauts who are sent to Venus on a mission. They land on the planet and encounter a strange creature. They capture the creature and bring it back to Earth. However, during their return journey, their spacecraft crash lands into the sea near Italy. The creature, in a dormant state, survives the crash and is brought to a nearby fishing village. The creature soon awakens and begins to grow rapidly. The scientists and the military try to contain the creature, but it escapes and begins to destroy Rome. The creature is eventually killed, but the damage has been done. The film deals with various themes that were prevalent during the 1950s. The movie portrays the fear of the unknown, the consequences of playing with science, and the dangers of atomic energy. The movie also portrays conflict between science and the military. The scientists in the film are portrayed as benevolent and interested in learning about the creature, while the military is portrayed as aggressive and wanting to destroy the creature. The theme was common in science fiction movies during the 1950s, where science was seen as a savior and the military was seen as a threat. One of the standout features of the film is the special effects. The creature, which is called the Ymir, is created using stop-motion animation by Ray Harryhausen. The Ymir is one of Harryhausen's most memorable creations, and its design and movements are still impressive to this day. The film's cinematography is also noteworthy. The film is shot in black and white, which adds to the film's atmosphere. The movie also uses various camera angles to showcase the destruction caused by Ymir. The use of long shots and close-ups adds to the tension of the movie. The acting is decent, but not exceptional. The film's lead actor, William Hopper, gives a solid performance as the lead scientist. However, the film's supporting actors, including Joan Taylor and Frank Puglia, are forgettable, to say the least. 20 Million Miles to Earth is a classic science fiction movie that has stood the test of time. The film's special effects and cinematography and themes are still relevant today. The movie's influence can be seen in later science fiction movies like Alien and Jurassic Park. The film is a must-see for any science fiction fan, and is a testament to the creativity and imagination of filmmakers in the 1950s. The Seventh Voyage of Sinbad is a classic adventure fantasy film released in 1958. Directed by Nathan Jurin and produced by Charles H. Schneer, the movie is based on the Arabian Nights tale of Sinbad the Sailor. The film is notable for its groundbreaking special effects and imaginative creature designs. The movie's success led to several sequels and imitations, and it's still regarded as a classic in the fantasy genre. Sinbad the Sailor and his diverse crew reach land. They confront a giant cyclops and Sokura the magician. Ignoring Sokura's plea to save the land due to Princess Parissa's presence, Sinbad avoids conflict. Back in Baghdad, Sokura's magic triggers chaos, shrinking Parissa and sparking a war. Sinbad, persuaded by Sokura, travels back to the land for a potion ingredient. Sinbad's crew, including convicts, mutinies, but a storm compels the release of Sinbad. They eventually battle the Cyclops and rocks, obtain the ingredients, and free Parissa. Sokura's death and a dragon's demise conclude their quest, with Barani the genie joining their journey. In the end, Sinbad and their crew sail home, blessed with newfound treasures and unity amidst a world teeming with diverse and formidable creatures. The film deals with various themes that are common in fantasy literature. The movie portrays the idea of a hero's journey and the struggle between good and evil. We've seen this a million times, but I think the film does it really well. Sinbad also explores the themes of temptation, trust, and betrayal. The film's antagonist is a master of deception and uses his powers to manipulate Sinbad and his crew. The movie's main theme is the idea that good triumphs over evil, and that the power of friendship and loyalty can overcome any obstacle. In June 1957, the production of The Seventh Voyage of Sinbad was announced, a joint endeavor between Schneer's Morning Star and Columbia Pictures. The movie featured Kerwin Matthews and Catherine Grant as leads, with filming taking place in Spain. Over 11 months, Ray Harryhausen crafted intricate stop-motion animation sequences, introducing his Dynamation label. Harryhausen's artistic prowess brought forth imaginative creatures including the Cyclops with Pan-inspired features. He drew from past work for its design. The film's climactic scene shifted from a dual Cyclops battle to a single Cyclops confronting a dragon, a complex sequence that showcased Harryhausen's skills. The mesmerizing sword fight between Sinbad and a skeleton became a highlight, later expanded upon in Jason and the Argonauts. The Snake Woman sequence was inspired by a Beirut belly dancer. Notably, Harryhausen's creativity extended to repurposing the Cobra Woman figure for the iconic Medusa in his final film, Clash of the Titans. The film truly embodies the essence of an adventure serial, blending components from both Sinbad's narratives and the Odyssey. Notably, it holds the distinction of being the very first Harryhausen film to ever grace the screen in vivid color. Brilliant Technicolor, to be precise. It provides an impressive stage to showcase Harryhausen's remarkable skills, introducing an assortment of mesmerizing creatures. The Cyclops emerges as a very distinct and unforgettable creation, one of my all-time favorite Harryhausen monsters. The visual landscape encompasses an array of beings, including a dual-headed vulture, a serpent-like figure reminiscent of the Hindu goddess Kali, and a malevolent resurrected skeleton engaged in a formidable clash with Sinbad, brandishing a sword and shield. These imaginative entities, whether presented in miniature form or seamlessly interwoven with live-action sequences, serve as a testament to Harryhausen's boundless imagination, resulting in a delightful and concise epic that unfolds within a captivating runtime of under 90 minutes.
I suppose I don't have a thing to worry about for the rest of my life.
The Three Worlds of Gulliver is a 1960 fantasy adventure film directed by Jack Schur and based on the novel Gullivers Travels by Jonathan Swift. The film follows the story of Dr. Gulliver, an 18th century Englishman who is transported to 3 different miniature worlds where he faces various challenges and obstacles. The film is notable for its special effects, which were considered groundbreaking at the time of its release. In 1699, impoverished surgeon Dr. Gulliver seeks adventure as a ship's doctor. Accompanied secretly by his fiancée Elizabeth, they end up shipwrecked, and he lands on Lilliput, a land of tiny people who mistrust him initially. However, Gulliver earns their trust through good deeds and intervenes in a neighboring conflict. Escaping a threat to his life, he arrives at a land that is inhabited by giants, where he reunites with Elizabeth. They face challenges, including an accusation of sorcery. With the help of a giantess, they escape and return home, realizing that their extraordinary experiences were real and not a dream. Gulliver reflects on human flaws and suggests that even in ordinary life, similar imperfections exist. The film deals with several themes that are present in the novel Gullivers Travels. The movie explores the idea of cultural differences and how individuals must adapt to new environments. The film also deals with the themes of power and politics, as Gulliver becomes embroiled in the conflicts between the various factions that he encounters. The acting in the movie is decent, but it's nothing special. The film's lead actor, Kerwin Matthews, gives a very solid performance as Gulliver. However, the film's supporting actors, including Joe Morrow and Lee Patterson, are somewhat forgettable. The film's standout performance is from June Thorburn, who plays Gulliver's wife. Thorburns' performance as the concerned yet loving wife adds a much-needed emotional depth to the film. The special effects are somewhat underwhelming. Look, Harryhausen's animation here is very minimal. Unless you're going on a Harryhausen marathon like I am, there's really no need to watch this movie, as its target audience is children. I was hyped. I was expecting a Gulliver's Travels movie with some crazy special effects from Harryhausen, but you're not really going to get that here. It's nothing to really write home about, but it's also not without its charm and appreciation for the effort that was invested. Yet, the final result is somewhat dated and lacks the energy that can be found in his more notable works. The Three Worlds of Gulliver acts as a faithful yet condensed version of Gulliver's Travels, and it lacks the impressive Harryhausen effects that it hinted at due to its focus on size. The movie is entertaining, but the satire from the book is diluted, making it a little bit immature. The editing is also uneven, suggesting that the film might have been a bit longer in an earlier version. However, the film soundtrack, which was composed by Bernard Herrmann, is really good. It is somewhat standard for the time, but there is an occasional pleasant theme that's sprinkled throughout. Mysterious Island is a 1961 sci-fi adventure film directed by Cy Enfield and based on the novel of the same name by Jules Verne. The movie begins with a group of Union soldiers who escape from a Confederate prison camp in a hot air balloon. Already, what a great setup. We really don't get enough Civil War movies, and it's pretty neat seeing it used in this context. The group lands on a deserted island and discovers that the island is full of unusual wildlife, including giant crabs and other creatures. The group soon discovers that Captain Nemo, a character from Verne's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, is on the island and has been using it as a laboratory to conduct various experiments. The group befriends Nemo and helps him to combat a giant octopus that has been causing havoc in the nearby waters. The film deals with several themes that are present in the novel. The movie explores the idea of survival in a harsh environment and how individuals must adapt to new and challenging situations. The film also deals with the theme of science and how it can be used for both good as well as evil. The film's portrayal of the giant creatures on the island can also be seen as a commentary on the destructive impact of human activity on the natural world. The special effects in the movie are notable and were considered very impressive at the time of its release. The special effects, which were created by Ray Harryhausen, are stop-motion animation, and they bring the creatures to life. The film's creature designs are imaginative, and the special effects still hold up even by today's standards. The movie cinematography is also pretty great. The film was shot in Technicolor, which really adds to the movie's fantastical atmosphere. The movie uses various camera angles to showcase the film's special effects and creature designs, creating a more dynamic image. The film's use of lighting and color is also impressive, as it adds to the film's overall visual appeal. The acting in the movie is solid, with several notable performances. The film's lead actor, Michael Craig, gives a solid performance as the leader of the group of soldiers. The film's supporting actors, including Joan Greenwood and Gary Merrill, are also notable. The film's standout performance, though, is from Herbert Lom, who plays the role of Captain Nemo. Lom's performance as the enigmatic and troubled scientist adds emotional depth to the film, and not to mention, he just steals the show in every scene he's in. While not the definitive Captain Nemo, it's one of the best. Mysterious Island is a classic sci-fi adventure movie that is notable for its special effects and creature designs. The film's themes are relevant and are still present in modern science fiction literature and films. While the acting may not be exceptional with a few bright spots, the film's special effects and imaginative creature designs make it a must-see for any fan of the sci-fi genre. Jason and the Argonauts is a 1963 fantasy adventure film directed by Don Chaffee and based on the Greek myth of Jason and the Argonauts. The film follows the story of Jason, who sets out to find the Golden Fleece, a mythical artifact that can bring peace to his troubled land. The film is remembered by many for its special effects, which were created by stop-motion animator Ray Harryhausen, and are considered by many to be groundbreaking for the time. The film begins with King Peleus taking control of the kingdom of Thessaly after Jason's father is killed. Jason grows up to become a brave and determined warrior, and sets out to find the Golden Fleece, a magical artifact that he believes will allow him to reclaim his rightful place as king. Jason assembles a crew of skilled warriors and sailors, known as the Argonauts, and they set sail on the Argo to find the fleece. The journey is full of peril, and the Argonauts face numerous obstacles and challenges along the way. They battle giants, sirens, and many other mythical creatures to reach their destination. Along the way, Jason meets and falls in love with a sorceress who helps him complete his quest. Jason and the Argonauts embodies the classic essence of Hollywood's sword and sandal fantasy genre, reminiscent of the golden era of Hollywood. The film was shot in vibrant Technicolor, adorned with opulent sets that exude glamour. It features a plethora of robust warriors donning skirts, along with awe-inspiring mythical creatures. What truly sets it apart is the exhilarating sense of adventure, a rarity in many contemporary films. You never know what creature or person they're going to encounter next, and that's what makes it so great. The film deals with several themes that are present in the original myth of Jason and the Argonauts. The movie explores the idea of heroism and the ways in which individuals can rise above their circumstances to achieve greatness. The film also deals with the theme of fate, and the idea that individuals are often powerless to control their own destiny. The special effects in the movie are immaculate and groundbreaking for the time. The film's special effects were created by stop-motion animator Ray Harryhausen, who used various techniques to bring the film's mythical creatures to life. The film's creature designs are so imaginative and memorable even by today's standards. One of the most iconic scenes is the battle between Jason and his men and an army of animated skeletons, which is considered a masterpiece of stop-motion animation. Talos, as both a character and a special effect, stands as a true masterpiece. The scene where he awakens and slowly turns his character to fixate upon Hercules is etched forever into cinematic history. The sound design is just incredible, with the creaking metal adding to the mounting tension in the scene. When Talos moves, you really feel the weight of his stature. Now, the acting in the movie is very solid, with several fantastic performances. The film's lead actor, Todd Armstrong, gives a very good performance as Jason. The standout performance of the film is Nigel Green, who plays the role of Hercules. Green's performance as the boisterous and heroic warrior just steals the show from everyone else. It's great. Jason and the Argonauts is a classic fantasy adventure movie that is notable for its special effects and creature designs. The film's themes are relevant and continue to be explored in modern cinema. And while the acting is good but not great, the film's special effects and imaginative creature designs make it a must-see for any fan of the fantasy genre and anyone who just likes movies in general.
We come from Earth, many hundreds of thousands of miles away. No, it doesn't mean a thing. Nothing at all. Man.
First Men in the Moon is a 1964 British science fiction film directed by Nathan Jurin and based on the novel of the same name by H.G. Wells. The film explores themes of imperialism, human ambition, and the dangers of unchecked progress. The story begins in present-day England, or at least 1964 England, where a team of astronauts land on the moon and discover an unusual British flag. The British government sends a retired scientist named Arnold Bedford to explain the flag's origin. Bedford reveals that he was part of an expedition to the moon in 1899 with a wealthy businessman named Cavor. Together, they discover a substance called cavorite, which allows objects to defy gravity. Cavor believes that cavorite will allow humanity to conquer space, and they build a sphere out of gold to travel to the moon. Once they arrive, they discover an underground civilization of insectoid creatures called the Selenites. They live off of the moon's atmosphere, and they end up capturing Cavor, and Bedford must find a way to rescue him and escape the moon. The film explores several themes that are present in the original novel by H.G. Wells. The movie deals with the idea of imperialism and the dangers of unchecked scientific progress. The movie's depiction of the Selenites and their society can be seen as a commentary on colonialism and the ways in which imperial powers often exploit and oppress native people. The movie also explores the idea of human ambition and the desire for discovery, which can lead to both progress and destruction. The special effects in the movie are really good. The film's depiction of the lunar landscape and the underground city is just so visually striking. The movie uses a combination of practical effects such as miniatures and matte paintings, as well as stop-motion animation, in order to bring the film's fantastical elements to life. The film's cinematography is also notable. The movie was shot in Technicolor, which adds to the film's visual appeal. As always, it looks so retro, which it wasn't retro at the time, but it has that old-timey feel, while also just being so saturated and just gorgeous to look at. The film's use of camera angles and movement is creative and effective, mostly in the film's action sequences. The lighting and color scheme also create a sense of otherworldliness and add to the film's overall atmosphere. The acting in the movie is solid, with a few notable performances. The film's lead actor, Edward Judd, gives a solid performance as Arnold Bedford. Judd's portrayal of the character's determination and resourcefulness adds much needed depth to the film, and the supporting actors also do a very good job. First Men in the Moon is a classic sci-fi movie that explores themes of imperialism, human ambition, and the dangers of unchecked scientific progress. The film's special effects and imaginative creature designs are impressive for the time and remain visually striking even today. The movie's themes are relevant and continue to be explored in modern cinema. The film's legacy can be seen in later movies, like Star Wars and the Star Trek franchise. While the acting may not be perfect, it's good for its time. The film's special effects, imaginative creature designs, and social commentary make it a must-see for any fan of the sci-fi genre. One Million Years BC is a sci-fi fantasy film that was released in 1966. The film, which was directed by Don Chaffee, is best known for its visual effects and stop-motion animation created by Ray Harryhausen. The film stars Raquel Welch and John Richardson. The film takes place in the year 1 million BC. The dark-haired rock tribe captures a warthog, igniting a dispute over its meat and resulting in Tumok's exile to the unforgiving desert. Surviving encounters with various prehistoric creatures, Tumok collapses on a distant beach, where the fair-haired Shell tribe, accompanied by the formidable Archelon, rescues him. In the rock tribe, Sakana seizes power from the weakened Akoba. Tumok and Loana of the Shell tribe navigate a world of danger, from battling an Allosaurus to witnessing an epic clash between a Triceratops and a Ceratosaurus. Their journey takes a personal turn, as Loana triumphs over Tumok's former lover. Amidst volcanic upheaval, a battle of tribes ensues, leading to Sakana's demise and Akoba's fall. Tumok emerges as the new leader, uniting both tribes as they brave prehistoric perils together. One of the most notable aspects of the film is its special effects, mainly the stop-motion animation. Ray Harryhausen's work on 1 Million Years BC was crucial to the film's success and enduring popularity. Harryhausen was one of the most innovative and influential visual effects artists of his time, and he was responsible for creating the film's many prehistoric creatures using stop-motion animation techniques. One of the most memorable scenes in the film is the battle between the Ceratosaurus and the Triceratops. Like the majority of his work, Harryhausen spent months creating the stop-motion animation, and even used detailed models of the dinosaurs that he sculpted himself. The fight scene took several weeks to film, with each movement of the models being meticulously planned and executed to create the illusion of realistic motion. The resulting scene is a thrilling and memorable example of Harryhausen's artistry. In addition to the dinosaurs, Harryhausen also created other prehistoric creatures for the film, including a giant spider, a giant turtle, and a prehistoric iguana. Each of these creatures required its own unique animation, with Harryhausen paying close attention to their movements and behavior to create convincing and lifelike movements. He spent months researching the anatomy and behavior of prehistoric creatures, working closely with paleontologists to ensure that his models were as accurate as possible to the time. He also experimented with new techniques, such as using split-screen photography to composite live-action footage with his stop-motion animation. The resulting film is a testament to Harryhausen's skill and creativity, and his work on 1 Million Years BC continues to inspire and influence filmmakers to this day. His attention to detail and dedication to creating realistic creatures helped to elevate the film beyond its simple plot and create a vivid and memorable prehistoric world. The film's score is also really good. It has this otherworldly atmosphere that really suits the film's prehistoric setting. It feels of its time, but it also feels completely alien in a way. In terms of plot, the film is relatively simple. It's a classic tale of two tribes at war with a love story thrown in for good measure. However, the film does a good job of building tension and creating a sense of danger. The prehistoric creatures, mainly the dinosaurs, are very threatening, and there are several exciting action sequences that really make you just want to go, yeah, I feel like a little kid now. The film's depiction of prehistoric life is inaccurate, but again, who cares? The film still attempts to create a believable world. The characters' costumes, which are made from animal skins and fur, are also really good. Loana, played by the late Raquel Welch, is presented as a strong and capable character. She's skilled in hunting and fighting and is not afraid to speak her mind. For the time, this is really progressive, and as a result, Raquel Welch was arguably one of the first female action heroes of her time. In conclusion, 1 Million Years BC is a visually impressive film with some exciting action sequences and a very memorable score. Its depiction of prehistoric life, while somewhat inaccurate, I don't think humans were around the same time dinosaurs were, but it's entertaining. The stop motion is still very impressive, and nonetheless, it remains a classic of the sci-fi and fantasy genre. This film is totally worth watching for fans of special effects and creature features. The Valley of Guanji is a sci-fi western film released in 1969. Directed by Jim O'Connelly with stop-motion animation by Ray Harryhausen, the film is notable for its groundbreaking special effects, which combine stop-motion animation with live-action footage. The film stars James Franciscus, Gila Golan, and Richard Carlson. The film is set in the early 20th century and follows a group of cowboys and a circus owner who discover a hidden valley in Mexico where dinosaurs still roam the earth. They soon realize that the valley is inhabited by a fierce Allosaurus named Guanji, who becomes the centerpiece of a Wild West circus show. One of the highlights of the film is its special effects. Ray Harryhausen created a variety of prehistoric creatures, including a Strachosaurus, Triceratops, and the film's main attraction, the Allosaurus named Guanji. The stop-motion animation is seamlessly integrated with live-action footage, creating a convincing and immersive world. The film's score, composed by Jerome Moros, is also noteworthy. It features a mix of orchestral and Western-inspired sounds, which helps to create an adventurous and suspenseful atmosphere that suits the film's Wild West setting. In terms of its plot, The Valley of Guanji is a classic adventure story with a Wild West twist. The film blends elements of science fiction, westerns, and monster movies, creating a unique and entertaining experience. The characters are a mix of cowboys and circus performers who must work together to capture and control the dangerous Guanji. The film's action sequences, particularly the climactic showdown between Guanji and a group of cowboys, is so thrilling and well executed. Honestly, whoever came up with the idea of cowboys fighting dinosaurs is a goddamn genius. The film's depiction of prehistoric life is also extremely well done. While some of the details are undoubtedly inaccurate, the film does attempt to create a believable world. The dinosaurs are presented as fearsome and dangerous creatures, with the cowboys and circus performers struggling to control them. The film's use of miniatures and matte paintings to create the valley and its prehistoric inhabitants is extremely impressive, and the attention to detail in Harryhausen's creature designs is nothing short of remarkable. In conclusion, The Valley of Guanji is a classic adventure film with groundbreaking special effects and an entertaining mix of genres. Its depiction of prehistoric life is impressive, and its Wild West setting adds a unique twist to the story. It remains a classic of the sci-fi and monster movie genres, and is a must-see for fans of Ray Harryhausen's work. The Golden Voyage of Sinbad is a fantasy adventure film released in 1973. Directed by Gordon Hessler and produced by Charles H. Sheener, the film is a sequel to The Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, released in 1958. A mysterious creature with a shiny object flies over a ship at sea. The crew's arrow misses the creature, but it causes it to drop a piece, which Sinbad keeps. He dreams of a man and a girl. A storm diverts the ship to Marabia, where Sinbad encounters the man from his dream. a magician. Sinbad seeks a trio of puzzle pieces leading to the Fountain of Destiny. They end up reaching the fountain after numerous obstacles, and the magician fights its guardian. Sinbad defeats the magician, completing the puzzle, and a crown emerges. Sinbad and his crew sail into the horizon. Schneer and Harryhausen saw an opportunity to revisit the Arabian Nights theme with another Sinbad movie, capitalizing on their earlier success. They translated Harryhausen's sketches into a screenplay with Brian Clemens, leading to Harryhausen receiving a co-producer credit for his extensive involvement in various aspects of the film's creation. One of the most notable aspects of the film is, once again, its special effects, which were the work of Ray Harryhausen. His work continued to push the boundaries of stop-motion animation. The film featured a variety of creatures and monsters, including a one-eyed centaur, a six-armed sword-wielding statue, and a griffin. The stop-motion animation is seamlessly integrated with live-action footage. While King Kong still looks fantastic in my opinion, we've come a long way since then. The attention to detail in the creatures' designs is nothing short of remarkable, with each creature having its own unique movement and personality. The film's climactic battle between Sinbad and the magician is particularly noteworthy, featuring a variety of stop-motion creatures fighting alongside the live-action actors. The film was shot on location in Spain, Italy, and Malta, and the exotic settings help to create a sense of adventure and wonder. The film's score is also really good. It features a mix of orchestral stuff and Middle Eastern-inspired sounds that help to enhance the film's exotic setting. The film's plot is a classic adventure story, with Sinbad and his crew encountering various monsters, creatures, obstacles, and dangers. The characters are a mix of heroes and villains, each with their own motivation and goals. Sinbad is your typical hero figure, brave and resourceful, but also with a sense of humor and a willingness to take risks. In conclusion, The Golden Voyage of Sinbad stands as a captivating and enduring testament to the artistry of fantasy filmmaking from a bygone era. At its heart, the film's narrative is a timeless tale of heroism, perilous quests, and the eternal battle between good and evil. Sinbad, portrayed by John Philip Law, embodies the quintessential heroic archetype, leading his crew through treacherous waters and confronting supernatural foes with unwavering determination, ensnaring the audience in a high-stakes clash of sorcery and bravery. Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger is a fantasy adventure film directed by Sam Wanamaker with animation by Ray Harryhausen. The film was released in 1977, and it follows Sinbad the sailor as he sets out on a journey to help his friend, Prince Qasim, who has been turned into a baboon by an evil sorcerer. Along the way, they encounter numerous obstacles, including a giant walrus, a saber-toothed tiger, and a powerful mythical creature known as the troglodyte. The film is the third and final installment in the Sinbad trilogy. Like its predecessors, The Seventh Voyage of Sinbad and The Golden Voyage of Sinbad rely heavily on stop-motion animation techniques, which were a hallmark of Ray Harryhausen's work. In Eye of the Tiger, Harryhausen created some of his most impressive creatures yet. The story itself is relatively simple, but it's still well-paced and engaging. The script is written by Beverly Cross, who had previously worked on the first two Sinbad films, as well as the 1963 classic Jason and the Argonauts, which also featured Harryhausen's stop-motion animation. Cross's script is packed with adventure and excitement, with plenty of action set pieces and moments of peril for Sinbad and his companions. One of the film's strengths is its cast. John Wayne's son, Patrick Wayne, stars as Sinbad as he brings a sense of rugged charm to the role. Jane Seymour, who was still relatively unknown at the time, plays Princess Farah, who joins Sinbad on his journey. And Taryn Power, daughter of the famous actor Tyrone Power, plays Dione. The film's production design is also impressive. The locations used for filming, including the deserts of Jordan and the snow-covered mountains of Switzerland, give the film a sense of scope and grandeur. The set pieces, such as the impressive cave where the troglodyte resides, are also well designed and add to the film's sense of adventure. However, the film is not without its flaws. Some of the dialogue is clunky and forced, mainly with the romantic subplot between Dione and while the stop-motion animation is impressive, it does feel a little bit dated by today's standards. Not by much, but it does have that look of, yeah, I know that this is stop-motion animation. Which, that might make it less appealing to modern audiences, but Not to me. I still love this shit. Overall, Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger is an entertaining and well-made adventure film that's a worthy addition to the Sinbad trilogy. Its impressive production design and engaging cast make up for its shortcomings, and its sense of adventure and excitement is sure to delight fans of the genre. Clash of the Titans is a 1981 fantasy film directed by Desmond Davis and produced by Ray Harryhausen. The film is based on Greek mythology and follows the story of Perseus, a demigod who must save the princess Andromeda and defeat the monstrous Kraken to appease the gods and save his kingdom from destruction. This is the last film in Ray Harryhausen's filmography. And after a long run of films like The Seventh Voyage of Sinbad and Jason and the Argonauts, the film's cast is led by Harry Hamlin, who plays Perseus, and features a supporting cast of talented actors, including Laurence Olivier as Zeus, Maggie Smith as Thetis, and Ursula Andress as Aphrodite. The film's script is written by Beverly Cross, and it's a loose adaptation of the myth of Perseus, with several changes made to the story to suit the film's narrative. The film's plot is relatively simple and straightforward, but it's very well paced and engaging, with plenty of action set pieces and moments of tension and drama. The film explores themes of destiny, free will, and the relationship between mortals and the gods. One of the film's strengths is its visual design. The film's locations, which were filmed on location in Italy and Malta, give the film a sense of grandeur and scale. The production design is also very impressive, with detailed sets and costumes that bring the world of Greek mythology to life. When I was rewatching this for this review, I was blown away by the opening scene where a Greek city is just wiped out by a tidal wave. And in my brain, I'm just thinking, they really built that. This is a tangible set, and I feel like it is real. Yes, they're miniatures, but it feels just so authentic. You don't really get that nowadays. The special effects, including the stop-motion animation and practical effects, still hold up really well today and remain impressive feats of filmmaking. However, if we do want to nitpick, there are some flaws in the film. The dialogue can be stilted and melodramatic at times, and some of the performances can feel a bit hammy or over the top. This is a film that is very near and dear to me in my heart. Kind of going a little bit off script here, but I remember for my birthday, my grandpa gave me this movie as a gift, and it was on DVD, and I would watch it all the time. Like, I love this movie. I had already seen the remake with Sam Worthington that came out around that same time, and I think it was maybe out of confusion that he got it, or maybe just out of like, oh, this movie's really good, he'll like it if he liked the remake, and it's just something that's always kind of been near and dear to my heart. He's passed on now, but his love of film has sort of made me who I am today. Without him, there wouldn't be this channel, honestly. He's the reason I got so much into Godzilla movies, and as a result, why I got into filmmaking as a whole. So, yeah, I love this movie a lot, and if anything, there's so much sentimentality to it and nostalgia to where I really can't review it or rip it apart because there's nothing to really rip apart here. It's basically a masterpiece. So overall, Clash of the Titans is a classic of the fantasy genre and a must-see for fans of Greek mythology and special effects. Its use of stop-motion animation and practical effects remains impressive to this day, and its engaging story and memorable characters make it a timeless classic. The Giant Behemoth is a sci-fi film released in 1959, directed by Eugene Laurie and produced by Jack Harris. The film follows a group of scientists and military personnel as they try to stop a giant prehistoric sea creature that is terrorizing the coast of England. The film opens with the discovery of several dead sea creatures along the coast of Cornwall, England. The scientists are baffled by the cause of death until they discover that the creatures were exposed to high levels of radiation. As the investigation continues, a giant prehistoric creature emerges from the sea and begins to wreak havoc along the coast. The Giant Behemoth is a classic example of the sci-fi genre in the 50s. The film is definitely a product of its time, and it reflects the anxieties and fears of the era. The use of atomic energy is a central theme in the film, and is portrayed as dangerous and unpredictable, and can easily lead to catastrophic consequences. The film's depiction of science is also typical of the era. The scientists in the film are portrayed as brilliant and heroic figures who are working to save the world from a terrible threat. They are also portrayed as being somewhat detached from the rest of society with a single-minded focus on their work. Now, this is a common trope in sci-fi films of its era, and it reflects the growing fascination with science and technology in post-World War II America. The use of special effects in the film is impressive for its time. The giant behemoth, which is a stop-motion animation, is realistically rendered, and its movements are fluid and lifelike. The film's use of color is also notable, with a vivid palette of blues and greens that give the film a surreal and dreamlike quality. One of the film's strengths is its use of location shooting. The film was shot on location in England, and the scenes of the behemoth's destruction along the coast are very effective. The use of real locations gives the film a sense of realism that would have been very difficult to achieve on a soundstage. Now, the biggest weakness for this film is its pacing and its characters. The film takes a long time to get going, and there are long stretches where nothing much happens. The characters are also somewhat one-dimensional, with the scientists being the only ones who are kind of fleshed out. Regardless, the film is a product of its time, and it remains an enjoyable and entertaining flick for fans of classic science fiction films, and its themes of atomic energy and dangers of scientific progress are still relevant today. And its use of special effects and location shooting make it an impressive technical achievement. Despite its weaknesses, it's a film that is worth watching for its historical significance and entertainment value. The Crater Lake Monster is a low-budget sci-fi film from 1977, directed by William R. Stromberg and produced by Richard Cardella. The film tells the story of a prehistoric monster that emerges from Crater Lake in Oregon and goes on a total rampage, terrorizing the surrounding area. The Crater Lake Monster is a prime example of a low-budget B-movie from the 1970s. The film has many of the characteristics that are associated with the genre, including a weak script, cheesy special effects, and wooden acting. However, it also has a certain charm that has made it a cult favorite among fans of this type of film. One of the film's strengths is its use of location shooting. The film was shot on location in Oregon, and the scenes of the Crater Lake and the surrounding areas are quite beautiful. The lake provides a stunning backdrop for the action, and the filmmakers make great use of the natural landscape. The special effects are another highlight of the film. While they are certainly not up to the standards of a big-budget Hollywood production, they are effective in their own way. The creature is suitably menacing, and the scenes of it attacking people are well done. The film's weakness are its script and acting. The dialogue is often stilted and unnatural, and the actors deliver their lines in a wooden and unconvincing manner. The characters are also poorly developed, to say the least, and the audience is given little reason to actually care about their fates. The film's themes are not particularly deep or complex. The idea of a monster emerging from a lake is a familiar one, and the film offers very little in the way of new insights or perspectives on this idea. However, the film does touch on issues of the environment as scientists struggle with the ethical implications of their research and the effects of human activity on the natural world. In conclusion, The Crater Lake Monster is a flawed but entertaining film that is sure to appeal to fans of low-budget B-movies. Its use of location shooting and special effects is impressive, and it has a certain charm that makes it enjoyable to watch. However, its weak script and acting prevent it from being a truly great film. Nevertheless, it remains a fun and entertaining example of its genre. Q the Winged Serpent is a horror movie from 1982 that was written and directed by Larry Cohen. The film tells the story of a giant Aztec serpent known as Quetzalcoatl who terrorizes New York City by snatching people from rooftops and ripping them apart. First and foremost, Q the Winged Serpent features an all-star cast. You have Michael Moriarty, David Carradine, and Richard Roundtree just giving it their all in what's supposed to be nothing more than a B monster movie. Normally on this channel, I complain a lot about the pacing of monster movies and just how god-awful they are. Most of the time, the movie just dumps a bunch of exposition on you and you're forced to sort of just sit and listen to awful, stiff dialogue from characters that you do not care about, while you just wait for the monster to show up again. While yes, Quetzalcoatl isn't on screen all that much, you really don't notice because all the characters and the dialogue are just so expertly written. The script is really good. I was pleasantly surprised at the circumstantial and character-driven comedy that's present mostly in the dialogue. Larry Cohen's screenplay manages to blend horror, humor, and suspense in such a unique way that just works so well. The film captures the energy and grit of 1980s New York, painting a canvas of urban mayhem that perfectly complements the chaos of the story. The aerial shots of the city coupled with a haunting score create an atmosphere that's uniquely captivating and immersive. The idea for the film came from writer-director Larry Cohen, as he stared up at the Chrysler Building in New York and thought, that'd be the coolest place to have a nest. Thus, Q the Winged Serpent was born. They did shoot the majority of the movie in and around the Chrysler Building, but they were unable to fit the giant egg and nest prop in the skyscraper, so they opted to film the nest scenes elsewhere at an abandoned police station. After shooting had wrapped, the crew removed everything except for the nest prop. Around a year later, there was a news report that anthropologists were studying a massive nest that was found in an abandoned police station. I would just love to see their faces when they see this massive nest there. Randall William Cook and David Allen were responsible for bringing Quetzalcoatl to life via stop-motion animation. While the creature doesn't have a lot of screen time, it's still a well-executed special effect when it does finally appear. The stop-motion effects used to bring Q to life are a triumph of old-school craftsmanship, and they inject a level of authenticity and tangible excitement that CGI could never replicate. Every flap of those wings, every bone-chilling screech, it all adds to this astonishing feat of practical effects that elevates the movie into a league of its own. I love the creature design here. It sort of resembles a stereotypical dinosaur while still maintaining that feathered Aztec aesthetic. Sure, it is nowhere as colorful as most depictions of Quetzalcoatl, but it makes sense why it looks so dull in comparison to the original mythical design. This is a monster that's supposed to be living in a New York skyscraper. It feeds on humans. If it was very colorful and vibrant, it wouldn't really blend in as well and people would naturally spot it. So I understand why it isn't as accurate, but maybe a little bit of color would have been nice. In conclusion, Q the Winged Serpent stands as a remarkable anomaly within the realm of B-movie monster films. While many movies often falter due to clunky pacing and lackluster dialogue, this film defies those conventions with its skillfully written script, and it rises above its genre limitations, leaving a mark on the film industry as a cult classic that showcases the power of innovative storytelling and craftsmanship. Alice is a surreal and visually stunning fantasy film released in 1988. The film functions as a loose adaptation of Lewis Carroll's Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, as well as Through the Looking Glass, but with a unique and disturbing twist. Alice is a stop-motion animation film that utilizes a mix of live action as well as animation to create a haunting and dreamlike world. The film follows the story of Alice, a young girl who follows a white rabbit into a strange and surreal world. In this world, she encounters a variety of strange and often grotesque characters, including the March Hare, the Mad Hatter, and the Queen of Hearts. Alice's adventures in this bizarre and unsettling world challenge her perception of reality and leave her questioning her sanity. It's safe to say that this is a film that defies easy categorization. It's part fairy tale, part horror story, part social commentary, and part psychological drama. It's a film that is simultaneously disturbing, fascinating, and beautiful. The film's imagery is also very striking. The stop-motion animation creates a world that is both familiar and strange, with everyday objects taking on a nightmarish quality. The film's use of close-ups and extreme close-ups create an intense and claustrophobic atmosphere, making the viewer feel as though they are trapped in the same strange and unsettling world as Alice. The film's themes are also worth examining. It's a film that explores the nature of reality and the perception of reality. Alice's experiences in the strange and surreal world challenge her sense of what is real and what is not, leaving her questioning her sanity throughout. The film also contains some social commentary, with Schwenkmeyer using the imagery of characters in Alice in Wonderland to critique various aspects of modern society. Overall, Alice is a film that is both beautiful and disturbing. Its use of stop-motion animation, sound, and imagery create a world that is both fascinating and terrifying. The film's themes of reality and perception, as well as its social commentary, make it a thought-provoking and intellectually stimulating work. It's a masterpiece of stop-motion animation and a true work of art that will continue to captivate and challenge audiences for generations to come. Now, I really wanted to cover Jan Švankmajer this month. For those that don't know, he's a Czech filmmaker and artist known for his surreal and often disturbing stop-motion animation films. For some background, Švankmajer studied at the Academy of Fine Arts in Prague and began his career as a filmmaker in the 1960s. His films would often combine live action and animation to create this surreal but often disturbing imagery. Švankmajer's films often feature grotesque imagery and dark humor and frequently explore themes of repression, power, and authority. His films have won numerous awards and have been exhibited at major film festivals around the world. Jan Švankmajer's contributions to the world of cinema have earned him a reputation as one of the most influential and original filmmakers of the 20th century. His work continues to inspire and challenge filmmakers and artists across the world. The Nightmare Before Christmas is a stop-motion animated musical fantasy film that was released in 1993. The film was directed by Henry Selick and produced by Tim Burton, who also wrote the story. The film has become a cult classic and has been celebrated for its unique and imaginative storytelling, stunning visuals, and catchy music. The story of The Nightmare Before Christmas follows Jack Skellington, the Pumpkin King from Halloween Town, who becomes bored with the routine of Halloween and discovers the magical portal that leads to Christmas Town. Intrigued by the concept of Christmas, Jack decides to take over the holiday and put his own twisted spin on it. He enlists the help of the citizens of Halloween Town to create a twisted version of Christmas, but things quickly spiral out of control when Santa Claus is kidnapped by Jack's nemesis, Oogie Boogie. Jack must then step up and save Christmas, discovering the true meaning of the holiday in the process. The film is done in stop-motion animation, and the characters are all designed with a distinctive look and personality, and the environments are rich with detail. The music, though, is what makes The Nightmare Before Christmas so memorable. The film's score was composed by Danny Elfman, who also provided the singing voice for Jack Skellington. The songs are very catchy, and they range in style from upbeat and festive to haunting and melancholic. The music helps to set the tone for the film and adds to the overall atmosphere. One of the film's central themes is the idea of finding one's place in the world. Jack Skellington is the Pumpkin King of Halloween Town, but he feels unfulfilled and restless. When he discovers Christmas Town, he becomes enamored with the concept of Christmas and wants to make it his own. However, his attempt to take over Christmas highlights the fact that he doesn't fully understand the holiday or its true meaning. It's only when he realizes that he can't replace Santa Claus and that he needs to embrace his own role as the Pumpkin King that he finds true contentment. Another theme that the film explores is the idea of accepting and appreciating differences. Halloween Town is a world that celebrates the macabre and eerie, while Christmas Town is all about joy and cheer. When Jack tries to impose Halloween sensibilities on Christmas, it creates chaos and confusion. However, by the end of the film, the characters learn to appreciate and respect the differences between their two worlds. In conclusion, The Nightmare Before Christmas is a visually stunning and thematically rich film that has become a beloved classic. Its unique visual style, catchy music, and imaginative storytelling have made it a favorite among audiences of all ages. The film's exploration of themes such as finding one's place in the world and accepting differences make it a timeless and enduring tale.
Wait! I forgot to tell you. They've been selling you a phony picture of reality all your life.
Charlie, you already told us that.
I'm a guitar, a cup of coffee.
Yeah, you told us that too.
In a world where the Earth has been stripped of all of its natural resources, ravaged by war and ozone depletion, and is now nothing more than a desolate wasteland in the year 3069. The people who live in this barren vessel look for a deity who will save them as well as give them nourishment. As a figure known as Charlie comes back to help them, their hunt will soon be ended. Live Freaky, Die Freaky is a stop-motion animated musical film directed by John Roker, released in 2006. The film tells the story of a future society in which the Manson family are viewed as cultural icons, with their actions being significant historical events in the grand view of human history. It depicts this alternative version of what we know is true as a horrific crime in a more humorous and satirical way. Upon its release, the film was met with very obvious controversy and received mixed reviews, with some critics praising its originality and others criticizing its crude humor and extreme violence. The animation in Live Freaky Die Freaky is done in stop-motion style. The film features a very distinctive visual style that uses brightly colored miniature sets and puppets with exaggerated features. Oftentimes they look like caricatures. The animation style complements the film's dark humor and surreal tone, though the quality of the animation can be downright awful at points. The story itself is a satire of the Charles Manson murders, which were a series of brutal killings committed by Manson and his followers in the 1960s. The film's storyline takes place in the future, where these murders are celebrated as a cultural phenomenon. The film focuses on a puppet named Helter Skelter, who becomes convinced that a copy of the book Helter Skelter is a religious text that justifies murder. Helter Skelter then goes on a killing spree, and the film follows his exploits and the reactions of those around him. The characters in Live Freaky Die Freaky are intentionally exaggerated and absurd. The film's main character is portrayed as a comically deranged and sociopathic puppet. The other characters, such as Sharon Haight and Tex Watson, are similarly over the top and often play for laughs. The music in the film is a mixture of original songs and covers of popular songs from the 1960s. The music ranges from upbeat and catchy to dark and foreboding, and it adds to the film's surreal atmosphere. Various rock and metal artists make appearances in the film in voice roles. Green Day frontman Billy Joe Armstrong voices Charles Manson. Blink-182 drummer Travis Barker voices a cop. They are not that great, and it's very clear that they are not voice actors, but it kind of works with what they're going for. The themes explored in the film include violence, religion, and celebrity culture. The film satirizes the glorification of violence and murder in pop culture, as well as the cult-like following that some celebrities can inspire. The film also deals with the idea of religion as a justification for violence, as Helter Skelter becomes convinced that his murders are divinely ordained. Look, this film is very dark and surreal. It is not for everyone. I will say, it is a unique take on the Charles Manson story. It uses stop-motion animation and a distinctive visual style to tell a very twisted tale of murder and mayhem. The film's humor is crude and often offensive, and its violence is extreme, so some viewers who are sensitive to these topics may want to avoid it. Even then, the film kind of falls flat on its face when attempting to deliver meaningful satire, and often comes off as just way too try-hard and edgy.
Mom? What are you doing here in the middle of the night?
You're just in time for supper, dear.
Coraline is a stop-motion animated dark fantasy film directed by Henry Selick and released in 2009. Based on the 2002 novel of the same name by Neil Gaiman, the collaboration began when Gaiman was getting ready to publish his novel Coraline. Impressed by Selick's The Nightmare Before Christmas, Gaiman invited him to adapt the book into a film. Selick expanded the screenplay beyond the book's scope, introducing the character of Waibi and seeking a unique animation style, which he achieved through the influence of Japanese illustrator Tadahiro Yasugi. Yasugi's contribution extended from color palette choices to intricate set design. The film's production unfolded in an expansive warehouse in Oregon, housing intricate sets including Victorian mansions and the elaborate Amazing Garden. More than 28 animators worked simultaneously, producing approximately 90 to 100 seconds of animation each week. The use of 3D printing technology brought custom elements to life, including the versatile Coraline puppets, with over 208,000 potential facial expressions. The collaborative endeavor engaged around 450 individuals, resulting in a meticulous 18-month-long production period. The film follows the adventurous Coraline Jones as she moves into a new house and discovers a hidden door leading to an enchanting alternate world. In this realm, her other parents are perfect, but are soon revealed as a trap by the sinister other mother, who aims to imprison Coraline. The narrative is where Coraline truly shines. Unafraid to explore darker themes, the film portrays the struggle of a young girl's desire for adventure and escape from the monotony of reality. The parallel universe Coraline stumbles upon, while enchanting on the surface, gradually reveals a sinister underbelly that fuels the tension. The other mother, a seemingly benevolent figure in the alternate world, masterfully transforms from a warm maternal presence into a chilling embodiment of control and manipulation. This transformation is an allegory for the unsettling reality that even our deepest desires can be twisted and used against us. Dakota Fanning's portrayal of Coraline's voice encapsulates the character's curiosity and vulnerability and eventual strength. The character's growth is palpable as she evolves from a restless child seeking excitement to a determined young hero combating the horrors of the alternate realm. Fanning's performance significantly contributes to the film's emotional depth and resonates with the audience on a personal level. The music in the film is a mixture of original songs and instrumental pieces. It's very whimsical, eerie, and atmospheric, adding to the film's overall tone of mystery and enchantment. The use of music to underscore the contrast between Coraline's two worlds is really commendable, adding another layer of depth to the storytelling. The alt-rock band They Might Be Giants performed the Other Father song in the film as well. Originally, the band had written 10 songs for the movie, but the only song that ended up being used was the Other Father song. The themes of the film include dangers of illusion and the importance of family. The film explores the idea that things that seem too good to be true often are, and that we should be more careful and not to be seduced by illusions. Additionally, the film emphasizes the importance of family, as Coraline's love for her parents ultimately motivates her to save them from danger. Now, if there is one minor critique to be offered, don't get me wrong, I love this movie a lot. In fact, I'm actually mad I haven't seen it until now. But that critique is that some of the secondary characters should be a little bit more developed. While Coraline's interactions with her quirky neighbors provide moments of levity, they kind of distract from the film's central narrative and thematic focus, serving more as a tool for establishing a proper tone and world over actually progressing the plot. But again, that's such a minor nitpick, I don't even know why I'm including it. In conclusion, Coraline is an unapologetically dark and mesmerizing animated film that boldly ventures into the territory of dark fantasy, pushing the boundaries of what animated films can and should achieve. With its exquisite stop-motion animation, well-crafted narrative, and powerful performances, the film leaves a lasting impression that transcends the confinements of its genre. It remains a compelling reminder that the most enchanting doors can lead to the most treacherous places, making it a must-watch for anyone seeking an animated experience that dares to explore the shadows beneath the surface.
You're alive! You're alive! Sparky! You're alive! I can't believe it! You're alive!
Frankenweenie, directed by the master of the macabre, Tim Burton, is a nostalgic and visually captivating animated masterpiece that unapologetically embraces the quirky darkness that became synonymous with Burton's unique style. The film's unbridled commitment to its gothic atmosphere, coupled with its heartfelt narrative and stunning stop-motion animation, results in a cinematic experience that is as thrilling as it is endearing. Functioning as a feature-length remake of Burton's 1984 short film of the same name, ironically, both films were produced by Disney. You see, when Tim Burton completed the short film, Disney fired him because they felt the movie was not suitable for a younger audience. The short film was actually considered lost media for some time, as it went unreleased for years, being only available in UK theaters very briefly. However, after the success of some of Burton's later films like Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Batman, and Beetlejuice, the short film would be released on various home video releases of Tim Burton's films. I think it's so neat that he was able to go back and remake the film that played a crucial part in kickstarting his career. After all, the reason he even got to direct Pee-wee's Big Adventure was because Paul Reubens loved the Frankenweenie short film so much. Getting back to the animated remake, Burton's storytelling prowess shines through as he reinvents the classic tale of Frankenstein with a very charming twist. The story follows a young Victor Frankenstein, a budding mad scientist, and his beloved dog, Sparky. When Sparky meets an untimely demise, Victor's determination to bring him back to life leads to a series of uproarious and eerie events that ensnare the entire town of New Holland. The film's animation is nothing short of a work of art. Every frame is meticulously crafted, showcasing the painstaking effort put into each character's design and the hauntingly atmospheric setting of New Holland. The intricate stop-motion animation infuses life into every creature, giving them a tangible quality that CGI often fails to capture. I think making it stop-motion not only pays homage to the timeless classics of horror cinema, but it just adds an extra layer of authenticity to the film's eerie ambiance. The character design, a quintessential Burton trademark, is a testament to his uncanny ability to transform the peculiar into the lovable. From Victor's gangly figure and dark-circled eyes to the weird-looking townsfolk that populate New Holland, each character is just so weird and unique. No one looks the same. Burton really has a knack for blending the creepy with the charming. The thematic depth of Frankenweenie resonates with audiences of all ages. The film delves into the powerful emotions of love, loss, and the ethical dilemmas surrounding the boundaries of science and morality. While yes, it's very easy to be captivated by the whimsy and hilarity of the storyline, the film also dares to explore weightier topics, prompting viewers to ponder the consequences of playing with the natural order and the potential repercussions of tampering with life itself. The film's dark tone is a double-edged sword, however, as it might prove to be overwhelming for younger audiences. The film's commitment to its gothic sensibilities and eerie atmosphere might occasionally overshadow its heartwarming narrative, causing the uninitiated to miss out on the layers of emotion that lie beneath the surface. However, for those who can embrace Tim Burton's signature style, Frankenweenie becomes a mesmerizing tapestry of the eerie and the endearing. Now, I loved this film when it first came out. I was 10 years old at the time, and I had just started doing a deep dive into the horror flicks of yesteryear. As a result, I loved how this film serves as a love letter to those black and white horror movies from way back in the day. I'm not someone who's easily impressed by references and homages and Easter eggs, but Frankenweenie is full of them. And it isn't all that distracting from the story. Everything from Gamera to Nosferatu to Jurassic Park and even more obscure works. Never in my life did I think that Disney would pay an homage to the film House. Oh boy. Now this is more of a personal anecdote, but whenever I think of Frankenweenie, I immediately get into the Halloween spirit. It just has that aura to it. I remember my mom, brother, and I were out running errands and getting our Halloween costumes for that year. She surprised us by going to the movie theater afterwards and taking us to see this movie. It always makes me smile looking back on it as a really happy memory and is one of the biggest reasons as to why I love this holiday so much. So, in conclusion, Frankenweenie is a triumphant return to form for Tim Burton, allowing him to weave his spellbinding cinematic magic in the realm of animation. The film is an enchanting ode to classic horror cinema, a masterclass in stop-motion animation, and a wonderful exploration of life and loss. While its unapologetic darkness might not be for everyone, those who enjoy a little bit of morbid whimsicality will find themselves entranced by the film's eerie charm.
You are 15 seconds behind. If you can't not complete the order in 15 seconds, you will be officially cited.
Operator is a short stop-motion horror film directed by Sam Barnett. It follows the story of a man who works at a corporation that unleashes a plague of biomechanical parasites to enslave its workers. The stop-motion animation in Operator is absolutely incredible. The visuals are dark and surreal, featuring grotesque and unsettling imagery that adds to the film's unsettling atmosphere. There's this level of body horror that is just so spine-tingling. The stop-motion animation style of the film adds to its unsettling atmosphere and highlights the craftsmanship and attention to detail that went into creating such a film. The short film does an amazing job of building suspense. You feel the palpable anxiety of the main character as he tries to just do his job, which, by the way, I think it's so creative that he had the guitar plug things as what he has to put into the holes. I think that's such a clever usage of a miniature turned big. I didn't even notice it the first time I saw it. But what I'm getting at is, we've all had conflicting feelings we experience when we have to accomplish something, but something else is telling us that it's risky or incorrect. The sensation is intensified by a feeling of being compelled or cornered. Everyone can identify on some level and sense the mounting worry, since it serves as a mirror to all of our lives at some point or another. Basically, I feel like I'm doing this wrong, but I'm gonna just keep going, or else I'm going to get fired, or worse, in this case, you never know. Sam Barnett, the filmmaker behind this short, stated that he was inspired to make this film by a few things, including cordyceps mushrooms, which infect and control the minds of ants, causing them to climb as high as possible so that when the mushroom bursts from the ant's head, the spores are spread as far as possible by the wind. Second, parasitic concepts, such as doctrines developed expressly by cults or authoritarian governments to weaken and control those who accept such beliefs, as well as the callous automation of corporate bureaucracy. Sprawling bureaucracies and megacorporations can have so many moving components and competing interests that no person can retain true control. How the corporation functions in this film as a faceless yet powerful entity is just so soul-crushing, yet all the more realistic. Our protagonist is just another cog in the machine. Yes, he has a family, but his free will and humanity are viewed by this corporation as unessential. This sound design is so eerie and haunting. There's this dread and unease that is enhanced by the sound effects here. You just feel so much discomfort and it's so disorienting. I love it. I love when the parasite actually gets on the protagonist's head and you hear all these weird and inhuman sounds. Not to mention the appearance of the actual parasite is just so wild. I love the addition of the eyes, almost making it a little cute when it really shouldn't be. Operator is a dark and unsettling work of stop-motion animation that explores motifs of corporate greed and workers' rights. The film's unique animation style and disturbing imagery create a sense of unease and discomfort that stays with the viewer long after it's over. It's a masterful work of animation that pushes the boundaries of what can be achieved in the medium, leaving a lasting impression on anyone who sees it. Please go check out this short film. It is so incredible. A little girl named Opal hears cries coming from a wretched home across the street and examines them out of curiosity. What she discovers is a decrepit and broken household, where various members of the house call her Claire for some odd reason. Little does she know there is much more than meets the eye to this strange place. I am so excited to talk about Jack Stauber today. He is one of my favorite artists out there. I first found his stuff on Instagram and was taken aback by the vintage and retro style mixed with the claymation and just oddball aesthetic. With a lot of his work looking like MTV bumpers, I knew that we had something special here. I love Shop, which is a short film that preceded Opal and was also made for Adult Swim.
I could live in an artisanal house with an artisanal wife, drive an artisanal car, live an artisanal life.
And now Opal is a short film that was directed and animated by Jack Stauber. Stauber is often known for his offbeat and surreal visual style. Released in 2020 as a collaboration with Adult Swim, Opal is a showcase of Stauber's talents as a filmmaker and musician, offering a trippy and surreal journey that blends elements of animation, live-action footage, and puppetry. The music of Opal is also an essential part of the film. Stauber's signature offbeat and slightly unsettling sound is a perfect match for the surreal visuals, with the music adding to the dreamlike quality of the video. The lyrics of the songs are minimal, with most of the meaning conveyed through the visuals. I absolutely love the song Easy to Breathe. It's insanely catchy and has this retro 50s doo-wop feel to it, mixed with Stauber's lo-fi 80s aesthetic.
And won't you tell me, how does it sound so easy to breathe on TV?
The film explores our desperate need for pure contentment and the harmful means by which we pursue it. Every member of the family is consumed by their own obsession, whether that's with drugs, entertainment, or both. Everyone wants to go away, including Claire, who envisions a better life as Opal. Paradoxically, their detrimental attempts to flee are what push Claire deeper into the attic, where her own illusions are hidden, demonstrating the abuse cycle that never ends. In the end, it becomes immediately clear that everyone shares Claire's desire to go, but as the mother observes, you're just as powerless as I am. They are ignorant of how their influence is destroying her innocence, which they covet. Opal is a mesmerizing and surreal short film that showcases Jack Stauber's unique talents as a filmmaker and musician. The film is a masterclass in visual storytelling, using a combination of live action, animation, and puppetry to create a world that is both haunting and beautiful. It is full of underlying themes and ideas that make for a thought-provoking and unforgettable viewing experience. A little youngster who is in need of food is scouring his unsuccessful garden for anything to eat. He leaps for a crow, but misses, but when he lifts his face out of the mud, he notices a large toe protruding from the ground. He takes the toe and prepares it for supper as his stomach begins to grumble. He never gave the person or thing that toe belonged to, or the potential that they would desire it back, any thought. Toe is a gothic folktale in stop motion. The film is directed by Neil O'Brien and Chad Thurman. The film's use of stop-motion animation is the standout feature, with each frame meticulously crafted by hand to create a stunning and immersive world. The attention to detail in the character design, sets, and lighting is extremely impressive, with the use of practical effects adding to a tangible quality of the film's world. This is just the second version of one of Alvin Schwartz's scary tales to tell in the dark that I've seen. The first, and in my opinion superior, is André Øvredal's anthology film. Given that it's based on children's literature, there's a surprising amount of suspenseful buildup, which is enhanced by the phenomenal sound design. The film's use of stark black and white and the stop-motion creepiness just makes it so eerie. I remember when I was in 5th grade, my teacher would always read us books after recess. We heard all of the classics: Hatchet, Of Mice and Men, Where the Red Fern Grows, and in October, we would read a story from Scary Tales to Tell in the Dark. The way he delivered the "Where is my toe?" line always just scared the shit out of me. It's something that I still remember to this day, and the short film effectively captures the exact same mood and atmosphere that I remember from my childhood. One of the most striking aspects of Toe is its use of sound design. I already kind of touched on this a little bit, but I'm going to go a bit more into it now. The film relies heavily on ambient sound. It kind of reminds me of Eraserhead. The constant crackly, swooshing background noise, the barren industrial wasteland, the black and white and lighting, despite the fact that this is more explicitly terrifying, effectively conjure up the atmosphere of that classic movie. Overall, Toe is a masterful piece of stop-motion animation that expertly blends stunning visuals, innovative sound design, and a compelling narrative to create a truly immersive and unsettling experience. It's a testament to the power of the medium of animation and the creativity of its filmmakers. Mad God is a 2022 stop-motion animated film directed by Phil Tippett, an Academy Award-winning visual effects artist known for his work on iconic films like Star Wars, Jurassic Park, and RoboCop. The film is a passion project that Tippett has been working on for over 30 years, and it's a culmination of his lifelong fascination with the art of stop-motion animation. The film is a dark, surreal journey through a nightmarish world that is equal parts fascinating and terrifying. The film's visual style is heavily influenced by the works of H.R. Giger, the Swiss artist and designer who is perhaps best known for his work on the Alien franchise. The film's imagery is at times grotesque and unsettling, but it's always incredibly detailed and meticulously crafted. Mad God is not a film that can be easily categorized. It's a series of vignettes that are loosely connected by a central narrative thread. The film's world is a post-apocalyptic wasteland populated by grotesque creatures and otherworldly landscapes. The film's main character is a nameless, faceless protagonist who wanders through this world, encountering a variety of strange and terrifying creatures along the way. The film's stop-motion animation is truly stunning. The attention to detail in the film's sets and characters is nothing short of remarkable. Each scene is filled with small, intricate details that make the film's world feel truly lived in. The characters in Mad God are also incredibly expressive despite their grotesque appearances. While it is undeniably a technical marvel, it's not a film for everyone. Its dark, surreal imagery and lack of a coherent narrative may be off-putting for some viewers. The film's pacing is deliberately slow, which may be frustrating for some viewers who are looking for a more traditional cinematic experience. At its core, Mad God is a film about the power of imagination. It's a deeply personal project for Tippett, who has spoken at length about his love for the art of stop-motion animation. The film's visuals are a testament to the incredible creativity and technical skill that goes into creating stop-motion animation, and the film is a love letter to the art form. To close out this year's Halloween Horror Picture Show, I would like to introduce my buddy from across the pond, Billy from Woodstock Roadshow, with his thoughts on the film. Take it away, Billy.
Mad God is without a doubt one of, if not the best stop-motion films of all time. And not because of its astonishingly low budget or not because it was a project that took 30 years to make, but I think it's just Phil Tippett's amazing world and vision that he's put into this project. And it feels like a guy was just chipping away at his dream car in his shed for decades and decades, just piece by piece, just putting this amazing bit of work together and bit of machinery together, and wasn't really interested in pleasing anyone but himself. And that's just the feeling I got when I watched it for the first time. You know, it was so cool, and I was sort of checking on the development of this film for a very long time because I'm a big fan of Phil Tippett's work, and I heard about this project about 7 years ago, and I think it was getting released in parts here and there was going to be a few other ways that it was going to get released, but to see it finally get a big audience on Shudder is amazing, and I don't even think Phil Tippett cares too much about that. I think this just feels like a movie, even if he just kept it in his locker forever. I don't know, he'd still be just as proud of it, I think. So, and I mean, you can't talk about the movie without mentioning there was a big crew involved of a lot of young animators, I believe, who were really keen to help him out. It almost reminds me of it's like a Fantasia nightmare, I think, this film. It's like Fantasia on acid, or like a bad trip in Fantasia. I think it's the only equivalent. It's like nothing I've ever seen before, and doesn't have that conventional narrative, which can be refreshing. I know that's not my cup of tea a lot of the time, but just the world that he's created and the detail, it honestly makes me anxious thinking about the work that would have been put into this project. And it's a masterpiece, and it speaks for his whole filmography, I think. He doesn't need to make another movie again, in my opinion. I think this just speaks for him all. So if he never, animated again, it wouldn't matter, because this just looks like his heart and soul's gone into it, and everyone involved. I think the only downside for me is the live action part, but again, that is there's a few sequences that are live action in this movie, and that's not my cup of tea. I didn't really enjoy that, but again, his world, not ours. So I sort of don't really know where to go from here. It's an amazing movie. Go and check it out. It's probably, if you don't like it, that's okay. It's certainly not for everyone. But if you like stop motion and you like sort of experimental films and things like that, this probably will be the one for you. So go watch it, enjoy, and subscribe to Firewood Media.
Well, folks, that's all I have for this year. Thank you so much for watching, and have a happy Halloween.